Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I have not filmed in forever and I would like to start this video maybe with a little bit of an update on what happened. If you're not interested in that, totally fine. There will be a timestamp below and here I think as well I can put one. Not sure, but for sure there will be a link and probably also the time here.
Subscribing might not be worth it, but it's also not optional, so just do it.
But yeah, so I have not filmed I think in 2 or so months, like anything. And this is also probably going to be the last video filmed in this apartment. Because some of you might be aware of this, I have graduated this year from my PhD and I'm going to move elsewhere for work, moving to Switzerland. I'm super excited for that. And yeah, I don't know, with the graduation and you know, all the things that were happening, the job hunt, and now kind of organizing the move into a different country, which is not even part of the EU. So that makes it just a little bit more complicated. Yeah, I just didn't have the mental capacity to film anything. Yeah, I've been still receiving some comments. Also, I noticed that the community feature has been activated. So that's really exciting. I've been kind of putting stuff there, here and there. But yeah, now I would like to have like a real sit-down video. To my defense, I only landed back in Germany, I guess a week ago. I traveled through India for 3 weeks with my friends from work. That was an amazing experience and a lot has happened there as well. And it was really cool to kind of round up, or like, you know, to have a full circle moment, graduating from the studies, traveling with my peers and friends, you know, experiencing a lot of new things, new culture, new everything. Yeah, so now I'm back. I'm kind of trying to pack up everything for the move, and I'm giving you a nice high elven moment here, serving high elven realness, thriving under the lights of Valinor. You know, giving you all the things that Rings of Power just did not provide. Ew, what was that? Elves with short hair. No. But yeah, so I'm starting the year on a bit of a somber note. As you might have seen, today's topic is the plants I have lost, treating these things as a learning opportunity. With no further ado, I guess, is what the cool kids say. Let's just start off. Just have like a bunch of plants sitting in front of me. Just gonna start with one that I want to blame Stephen and Camping Lewis personally for. Let me just get it. It's this one. It looks so great, right? It's the Cattleya amethystoglossa aurea, and this is just such a dumb plant. I was just so annoyed with it because I got that in October 2021 and was sitting around for a whole year not doing anything, right? So it's a bifoliate Cattleya, and we know those can be very particular with their requirements when it comes to repotting and so on. And obviously it was a completely wrong season for it to be shipped. Then in September, October 2022, suddenly it started to sprout a new growth, but it had not produced any roots in the meantime. So I guess this one is one of these species that finished the new growth and only then put out new roots, which I'm like, why would you do that? Like, have some common sense. You need to secure nutrients and water first and then invest them. Like, anyways. So then as the new growth sprouted, just the entire plant collapsed. And yeah, this is all that's left. Which is really sad. I was really looking forward to this plant because it was such a cool and unique color form, I think. Yeah, I guess was just not meant to be. Another one that I'm actually really upset about losing is this one. And you might say, oh, there's still some life in this. No, you know, it's like when orchids die and there's just like this leaf that's still a little hydrated. That's what's happening with this one. This is the Cattleya walkeriana semi-alba Puanani by Orlando Mazitu. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I was so sad when this one started to decline because finding a Cattleya walkeriana semi-alba in Europe is very hard. they're very rare, and if you find them, they're like 100-something euros. So this was really inexpensive. Again, one of the Brazil imports from Orchidean. But yeah, I just didn't make it. In the same order, I also had the Cattleya walkeriana, a cerulea. That is also very much struggling. I feel like aside from writing my thesis and graduating this year and, you know, looking for jobs and so on, so I really wasn't able to invest as much time into the plants as I would like to. Aside from that, I feel like also this year's summer was intense. And I live right underneath the roof, so the temperatures get pretty crazy here. So during summer, sometimes I had like 37 degrees until after 10 p.m. at night. I'll just insert the degrees Fahrenheit here. It's very hot, right? And so I just could not keep up with the watering here. It was super dry, super hot. And so a lot of the plants that I have here are younger plants or imports that just couldn't make it, which is really sad. That's just life. And I feel like these temperature extremes really hit the younger plants and the not established imports a lot. While I feel like some of my larger plants actually thrived under these conditions. So let's see. Hopefully this coming summer it's not going to be as crazy, but I think predictions are already saying that maybe it's going to be even more intense. So yay. The next victim of really the hot summer is this one. This is Sophronitis wittigiana. I should have just sent this to Fernanda when I sent her the package with the plants. She's really good with Sophronitis and she wants to increase her collection of Cattleya minis anyways. But at the time I was like, oh, this seems to be doing well. Let's see, I want to give Sophronitis another go. Now we have this, right? Like this plant would probably be alive had I sent it. I'm probably not gonna continue buying Sophronitis. I've just not had a lot of luck with them. Once summer rolls around, they just kind of wither off for me. Maybe now moving, right? Maybe the environment in my new place is going to be different. Let's see, but you know, I might as well just stick to the plants that kind of do well for me. I feel like Sophronitis are just not one of those. One that I'm really sad about is this one. This is one of the plants that I was sent by Petals, Sepals and Spines. We did a plant swap in 2022 and this was one of the plants that arrived not super mega healthy. You know, it just withered off pretty much immediately under my care. Sorry. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say the name. This is LC Cariad's Mini Angel Kiss, I think. Looked like a really cool plant, but yeah, this is Paphiopedilum sukhakulii. This was one of the plants I deflasked. I had ordered a flask from Equagenera Europe, previously known as Orchidean, and the flask came kind of contaminated, so the plants were not super mega healthy to begin with. But yeah, this one just died. This is kind of what's left over. Yeah, I am still very keen to try out sukhakulii in my collection. Maybe I'll go for a bigger plant. Maybe I'll go for seedlings again. Let's see what survives after the move and then I can make a decision. Another Paphiopedilum that died, this is Paphiopedilum tonsum. This one died not of drought or anything, this just had like ground rot. And this sat underneath my Tillandsia osneoides. And I guess when I watered the Tillandsia, some water dripped into the crown of this plant. It developed into crown rot, which then moved on into stem rot, and by the time I had noticed it, it was too late and this plant is just gone, which is really sad. It's a really cool mottled leaf Paphiopedilum with kind of a golden bronzy flower. Let's see, I think Schwerter still has this one available. I guess I could order another one. I have to see also, moving to Switzerland, what the conditions are. I'm not sure how many orchid nurseries that I used to buy from are actually going to ship to Switzerland. I know that you can just bring your plants if they're for like non-commercial reasons. I am allowed to import my plants there. I don't know about the nurseries though. Maybe they have to pay taxes or I have to pay taxes on those plants. I'll have to see. Another one I was really sad about, this is Dimorphorchis rossii. There is an upcoming video and spoiler alert, I received a replacement for this one. But this plant really hated me because I had two of them in this one pot. One of them I sent to Petal Sepals and Spine in our plant swap because I figured if I have two, I'd only need one. And this one I had just completely dropped all of its roots and was like, nope, sir, we're not doing this. I also have the Dimorphorchis Laelia, which is pushing new roots right now. I'm really excited to see how that is going to develop. I think in one of the videos in 2021, I want to say, Nina from Ninja Orchid said, oh, this is going to bloom in 2040 or something. So let's see how long it's going to take. I find these really interesting, even though they're like vandaceous, monopodial, whatever, because they have two different flower shapes and colors on one spike. Hence the name Dimorphorchis, so that's really interesting. Speaking of vandaceous plants, this is the Angraecum florulentum. This came from Afri-Orchids in the import I did, I guess like September 2020. Dang, there you go, yeah, we're also dropping leaves now. This just didn't make it. I think it arrived and was already extremely dehydrated and sad, and it just was so stressed that I was not able to make it come back. All the other plants from that import seem to be doing fine. Yeah, just this one was really not having it. I actually had a plant sitter take care of my plants while I was in India, because, you know, if you're gone for 3 weeks, someone needs to take care of your plants. He came in twice, and he was just devastated when he saw this plant. But I was like, look, there was nothing you could have done to save this. And I feel like also, knowing I'm going to move, I knew that any plants that are not super strong and really not on top of their game, I don't want to hold on to, because they're just going to be a liability during the move and afterwards. So, you know, sometimes you just have to let go, right? Okay, so then maybe, speaking of this import, I received also Angraecum stella-africae in this import. There were 4 plants in this one pot, 3 of which are alive, but 1 is just, yeah, not with us anymore. I guess 75% is still really good. So let's see, I hope I can keep them alive. The stella-africae was mounted, I had to unmount it. That's always stressful. Also, if you're coming from a different hemisphere, it's really stressful anyways. So yeah, I don't blame it, but one of the Angraecum stella-africae I had ordered from Afri-Orchids didn't make it. And then I also have 2 Angraecum didieri. I don't think I have these plants to show you right now. One I had ordered myself a while ago, I think, and then I had received 2 in one pot, sent one of them to Petal Sepals and Spines, and then the plant I kept back developed crown rot and then just died off. And the second one was one from Orchids that Mark sent me, and that one didn't make it. It arrived already in a really weak shape. So I don't know, I feel like Angraecum didieri is kind of a finicky plant. I killed 2 already. Should I continue with them? Is it worth it? I don't know. Next up, I have a bunch of plants. This is Cattleya lawrenceana concolor that I had ordered from Orchid Garden at some point. I think it was my birthday gift to myself. Lawrenceana is a really rare plant you don't really see a lot of, and concolor is one of my favorite color types. So I was really excited to have those. But what I didn't realize was that the plants that arrived would be really tiny seedlings, pretty much deflowered like a few months before they shipped them. Like they were very, very young, not established at all. And so when they arrived here, they were kinda okay, but then now, while I was gone for India, I think they just didn't make it. They probably would have liked more attention, but you know, at one of them, there is still maybe some hope, but not really, right? So I don't know, I'm just gonna hold on to this one plant and maybe it's gonna bounce back, but these other 2 are gone. I think in the same order I had Cattleya violacea alba. This one, same story, it just evaporated while I was gone on vacation. Kind of in a similar vein. These 2 pots are Cattleya violacea cerulea. I also got those from Ecuador, Europe as a flask that I potted up. They also just didn't make it. The summer heat really got to them and just fried them. I feel like I have to, like, you know, admittedly, probably I could have taken better care of them, hydrated them more, but it was just, as I said, so hot in this apartment. There was no way to keep them alive. I hope in the future, ordering flasks like this, I'll be able to keep them a little cooler until they're really established and stronger, at which point I feel like at least the walkeriana, rex, dowiana, and so on types really enjoy the heat. So yeah, let's see. So next up, this is actually, I'm a bit annoyed by this. This was a pretty expensive haul, and I feel like most of the plants that I got from that haul were not doing as well as I would have liked them to. This is from Asendorfer Orchideen. This is Cattleya warscewiczii alba polar night by self. This one maybe could perhaps still make it. There are, I think, 2 new growths coming, and I guess if there's like a root that's alive, maybe I can manage, but like this one is completely gone. I did not realize that the plants I ordered would be this tiny, right? Like this is the size that came in the order, I think in 2021, I want to say. When did I order those? Not 100% sure when I ordered this, but it was a birthday gift to myself. They didn't really develop super well, but those were very obviously very recently deflasked plants. I didn't realize that when I ordered them, and they were really expensive. So for these 2 very tiny seedlings, I paid, I think, 27 euros, which I'm like, that's steep. Especially if they're basically dead now. Admittedly, right, I could have saved them and so on, but I'm just like, for that price, I feel like I can expect a more established plant, even if it's from a named clone, right? I feel like probably I wouldn't pay that much for a plant in that state anymore. Maybe if it was a flask that I can pot up myself and there are many plants inside, aka more than 2, maybe I would do it, because with seedlings, at least in my hands, if I have a flask of 4 plants, usually maybe one of them survives in the end, right? So it has to be worth it, and this one really wasn't. So I'm not sure if I would order from Asendorfer again, because the plants are super expensive and I'm not sure if the quality matches up to what you pay for. Hot take, I know. And then another seedling that just didn't make it is this Cattleya gaskelliana tipo. I also got this as a flask from Ecuador, Europe. Just succumbed to the summer heat. And none of the other siblings from the flask made it either, so meh. Let's see, I think they still have it on their website. I might go for another order. Let's see, and there's yet another one, Cattleya percivaliana atropurpurea. I think I sent one of them to petals, sepals, and spines as well. And I think I also have 1 or 2 left. I'm pointing here because this is where the seedlings live. I feel like for me, if there's at least 1 plant left in the end, it's fine, right? Because, you know, if it thrives, if it grows, you can at least have something to work with. I feel like it's just super frustrating if the entire order dies, which happened with these. This is a haul that I got from Hennes Orchideen. They're located in Hildesheim in Germany. This is Epidendrum, polybulbon, and Laelia lundii. Really wanted the Laelia lundii to make it, and maybe you look at it and you're like, there's still some life in this. Yeah, but there are no roots, and like, yes, it's still green, but that is not gonna make it, right? And this has looked like this for pretty much ever since I got it. So I don't think this is gonna make it. And then this is the Epidendrum or Dinema polybulbon, a really cool plant because it has like these brown and white, apparently very interestingly fragrant flowers. And I really wanted this plant to make it because of the fragrance and because it's also a rarer plant here in Europe. And like there were 2 and this is all that's left. So yeah, clearly didn't make it. And also no idea what happened. It arrived in okay state, but then both of them just suddenly collapsed. And it's really upsetting actually because like the Epidendrum was not expensive, it was just €10.50, but then the Laelia lundii was like 25 euros almost. So that's a lot, I think, for a tiny plant that then just crumbles, right? So I don't know, I would probably still buy from Hennes Orchideen. but I think I'd probably prefer to go there in person and choose the plants more carefully. One purchase where choosing the plant myself and buying and selecting very carefully didn't help was this one. This is Cattleya milleri or Laelia milleri. It's a Ridiculous Laelia, one that I really one that I really wanted, and that's also not super readily available in Europe. And I purchased this when they had kind of a pop-up store with curling orchidean. So I went there, I saw this, bought it for like 30 euros, which is really expensive. And it just completely died. It looked really fine, but then suddenly it just dropped all the new roots that it had produced and just shut down completely. I'm still not 100% sure what happened, which is so sad because it's a Ridiculous Laelia with very nicely bright red flowers, which is kind of rare to find. Do have Laelia Angraecum, arrived in a very poor state from Schwerter in a hall, but that is still kicking around. So I don't know, they're very similar. Maybe at some point I'll have the milleri again, maybe not. Let's see. The next plant, again, is a bit of a sad story because just for collector reasons, I would have liked to keep this alive. This is Laelia ayamaniana, which is a natural hybrid of Laelia speciosa and Laelia albida. And both of those are kind of the genuine Laelias. Most of the plants that we refer to as Laelia in the hobby, like Laelia purpurata or tenebrosa or perennia and so on, are actually Cattleyas taxonomically, and so they've been reclassified as Cattleyas. However, these ones are genuine Laelias from, I guess, more like the south of North America and also like Central America. Other members of this genus, aside from speciosa and albida, would be like anceps, autumnalis, and rubescens. So all of which I'm really interested in obtaining. I have a few Laelia anceps that I have been, not gonna lie, I've initially thought they were really easygoing, but they've been a little finicky for me now with my very low humidity at home, because I feel like the plants tend to be covered in a very sticky sap. It's not kind of the happy sap that other plants have. This seems a little more resinous. So flower spike will have this, but also the new growths as they emerge. And so then they can get kind of stuck on themselves. So I've been struggling with that a little bit. But anyways, so I'm really interested in getting more of these genuine Laelias because they have a really wild growth pattern that I'm really into. And yeah, I really wanted to keep this one because this seemed to be a kind of more compact version. But yeah, completely died. Not sure really what happened because this was doing really well for me, and then just suddenly it's like boom, done. And maybe also the summer really stressed it out. The heat, it just didn't manifest as much, and then as the winter came, it just used up its energy reserves and then withered off. I feel like this is kind of what happened to several of my plants. One of which is the next one, which is this one. This is Cattleya warscewiczii, coerulea. I feel like color-wise it almost looks like it was rot. I'm not sure, and I mean, maybe you'll say, oh, there's a new growth coming, but I don't think that's gonna make it. There are no viable roots in the pot, and it's all kind of dead. Yeah, and so this came in a bigger kind of community pot with another one as well, and that one is also not looking too great, so I think I'm gonna just discard that one as well. I got the Armaniana and these ones from Orchids and More. If you've watched other videos, especially I guess the collection chronicles, I have a very complex relationship with Orchids and More. Sounds so unnecessarily dramatic, but they have really cool plants. They have plants that you don't really get anywhere else, and they have always new ones coming in. But also, when I purchase from them, more often than not, these plants give me problems, as in major scale outbreak, which then also starts spreading to other plants. Note to myself, this is kind of probably going to happen again soon now that spring's coming, or they just have weird symptoms where the growths just don't really get bigger and they're just dull and they're like very straggly thin growths, and I'm like, are you infected with something? Or this one where they just suddenly completely give up. As much as I want to say, oh yeah, I'd love to order from them again because of their really amazing plants, I feel like it's not super sustainable for me to go there, pick up stuff, and then, you know, you never know what you're getting. Some of them look really good and stay alive, and others just constantly give me new problems. And I feel like, especially with the scale, like I've done everything treatment-wise. I even did like a weekly treatment with systemic insecticides, 2 different ones that have 2 different mechanisms of action for 3 months last year. And I thought I had eradicated all of the scale in my collection. Suddenly, again, it just comes out. And it's always the plants that I got from Orchids and More. I feel like that's always where the scale infestation starts then, so they kind of have this reservoir in the pot or wherever, and then it spreads from there again. And it's just really frustrating for me, and I really hate it. So, I mean, why am I even thinking of ordering there again? Probably not gonna do it. And I would say, I don't want to tell you what to do, and I don't want to completely discourage you from ordering from them. If they have like a plant that you're really into and that you would really like to add to your collection, go for it. I'm probably not going to anymore. And let me just show you some more examples. So this is Tolumnia hanekanii by Triquetra. Also, I ordered this as one of the first plants from Orchids and More. Bloomed for me, it rebloomed for me, and then suddenly scale done. Bulbophyllum barbigerum, these are, I separated them into 2 pots. This bloomed for me. I even have a video of it blooming. But actually, right after it arrived, it had some rot issues. So this is why I separated them. Thought it's gonna die. Made a comeback, bloomed, and then suddenly the rot was back and everything was gone. Even though I had removed all of the infected pseudobulbs, and it seemed fine, but yeah, maybe the pathogen was just still in the media or whatever, so completely gone. Laelia vasconcelosiana, I sent divisions of this to Fernanda Nascimento, Ninja Orchids, and Petals, Sepals, and Spines. And I was like, amazing, we're gonna have like a plant family. Mine just died, just withered off very suddenly, was growing and thriving, but suddenly, boom, gone. I feel like I'm really rushing through these, but you know, next up, also, Orchids and More. Ornithocephalus, which one? Bicornis. Really not, I loved the growth pattern of this, so happy with it. Just such a nice plant. One day to the other, completely withered off. This one, I forget which one this one is. Also from Orchids and More. I got this together with, I think I got all of these kind of in my minis haul that I will link up there. Also, one day to the next, fried. So, like, I get it, sometimes you have this rapid onset of just self-destruction, like where the plants just hit this self-destroy button and there's nothing you can do. But these are different genera, all from the same nursery. I don't know, like, leave a comment down below. What's your opinion on this? Am I just a loser that kills everyone now and condones first-degree murder, advocates cannibalism and eats, or, you know. Next up, this is actually really sad as well. This is the Tolumnia Memorial Ralph something. I got this as a flask, Rölke. At the time they were still called Rölke Orchideen. And I sent, I think also, I know that I sent one to Petals, Sepals, and Spines, and I think I also gave another one to a friend of mine. I was super proud of them, right? It's like plant that I deflasked, they were growing really well, and then suddenly they're like, nope, bye. Really sad. I had given up all of my Tolumnias to a friend of mine, and also I sent divisions around, spoiler alert, upcoming video. But yeah, that was really sad because that was one of the plants that I had flasked myself and I was so proud of it. And it just didn't make it. Laelia perenniae cerulea, I think I have another one of these. This just also came in a community pot of several very young seedlings. This is one of the ones that didn't make it. Not bad. One that I was very personally attacked by is this one. I got this also from Orchideen. This is Laelia tenebrosa. It seemed like this plant was gonna make it because I got this, I think, in 2020, potted up, and then suddenly it just dropped all of its roots. I was able to nurse it back to health, and I think I showed this plant in my collection chronicles from this year's spring this year, the large Brazilian Laelias. It had consumed some of its back bulbs, and I was like, yes, it's gonna make it, and then suddenly was just dead. Really sad. Laelia tenebrosa is really one of the species I would like to keep in my collection because it's a bit of a rarer plant. You don't really see it as much, I feel like, in Europe, at least for sale. And the color palette is just so amazing. Yeah, then another Laelia that I had issues with is this one, Laelia fidolensis. I got this from Schwerter Orchideen in a haul. Just withered off, you know. Very sad because, again, this is one of these species that you don't really see as much. Yeah, lost it. What can you do? And then we have here Laelia gilliani. There were actually two plants, and I think I had featured this plant a lot on my channel as well as kind of one that's been finicky and struggling for me. Also, Nina had given me tips on how to revive it, and it seemed fine, but then the summer this year rolled by. It dropped its roots, and then it just kind of died. So, yeah. And yeah, then this is the last orchid for the video. This is Cattleya murriana. This came also as a community pot of several young flasklings. I still have some that are alive and kicking, so this one is just one of the ones that didn't make it, so that's fine. And then last but not least, a non-orchid. This is Sophronitis Laelia, I guess. Oh! Wait, first of all, this is a piece of the Angraecum didieri that I talked about earlier, where I didn't have the example plant. I think this is the one that died of the round rot. So, yay! Looks amazing, doesn't it? But yeah, anyways, this is then also one of its leaves. But yeah, no, this is Sophronitis Laelia, and this one died because it just suddenly it was just covered in, I think, mealybugs. It's just covered in them and then was sucked dry, basically. I'll try to see some pictures that I took of it with the bugs on it. Super nasty. Yeah, I really hoped to be able to keep this one alive. I had bought it at like a plant market. Yeah, it didn't make it. Whoopsie dipsy, what can I say? And yeah, so these are the plants that didn't make it for me in 2022 that I lost. I know this is maybe not a super nice video, and it's maybe also not the best video to start off 2023 with. And I feel like sometimes you just have to let go of plants and kind of learn what went wrong. I think one of the major factors that I can identify is I should order plants that already come in a good condition. Right, so if you buy sick plants or weak plants, of course, you're not going to make it. Also, I think with imports, I think it's what I should make sure is that I order plants in an import at a season when they have potential to grow and when they have potential to make it. And I think, for example, the Cattleya walkeriana, Cattleya amethystoglossa aurea, both of those just were not. They have a very seasonal growth pattern, and I think keeping in mind that they are coming from the southern hemisphere, so from a different season altogether, I feel like maybe it would be better for me to import those in spring. So this is something to keep in mind, I guess. And then last but not least, just care, right? Most of these plants I think I lost because I was not able to provide the adequate care to counteract the environmental factors that came in. I feel like if I have plants that are just fried under almost 40 degrees Celsius every day for several weeks, I need to be able to water them several times a day. And this was just not something that I was able to maintain. And so most of the plants just died because of that. I guess going forward with climate change, the summers here in Central Europe are going to probably change and be more closely related to a Mediterranean climate. So this is definitely something that we're all gonna have to get used to. Maybe we can reverse it, probably not. Going forward, I'm just gonna have to kind of put on my list for this year to really have a better eye on my plants. Granted, I was super busy with my thesis, graduation, and so on. And you have to put priorities in your life, right? Maybe keeping tiny plant seedlings alive is not as important as graduating from your PhD and finding a new job, right? Like, I feel like that's valid. But, at the same time, I feel like going forward now, I really want to also take a more conscious approach to my hobby and really also dedicate time in my life to my hobby. And I really hope that, going forward, I will be able to do this again. Yeah, so this is kind of what I've learned now. If you make mistakes and if things don't go according to plan, you should use it as a learning opportunity. Yeah, with that said, tell me, what are your plans for this year with your plant collection? What are plants that you maybe struggled with in 2022? Let me know what I could have done differently and what I could have maybe done to keep some of these plants alive. And yeah, let me know what kind of content you'd be interested in seeing. So I do have some more videos that are unedited that are coming up, some hauls and so on, and imports as well. Yeah, I'm still wondering if I'll be able to film, I'm moving my plants to a different country video, if this is something that you'd be interested in. Let's see if I can manage that. For sure, I also know that Fernanda had asked me for collection chronicles on my tolumnias. I have filmed all of my tolumnias before I gave them away. I have footage of them, I just need to edit it and figure out a way on how to present it that it's still relevant to my current collection, because they've been gone, I think, since September now. Yeah, sorry, I guess I should have posted that earlier, but stuff happened. And I also know that there was a request for to see kind of my setup and how I grow plants, and I feel like it makes sense to film that and to have my new setup. So this is definitely something that's coming. But if there's other stuff that you're interested in, just let me know. Also maybe not plant-related things. So I'm really interested in skincare, if this is something you'd be interested in, kind of my 2 cents on skincare. It was a moment where I was like, maybe I should film like a video about the selection process of the sunscreens I take to India, or like for a general travel in a tropical country, kind of what goes in that selection process. Yeah, I'm just kind of putting stuff out there. Just let me know. And yeah, I hope the video is not too long and too annoying. I feel like editing this is gonna be very difficult because I just haven't edited anything in forever. So I'm not making it easier if I don't stop talking. So with all of that said, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for not completely abandoning this channel. I hope there's going to be more content coming. But as I said, I'm moving countries, I'm starting a new job, so there's going to be a phase of just settling down and getting used to everything again. But yeah, let's see. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Boom!